We're really getting a chance to see some of the damage up close. Right now, we're looking at a basement that the foundation was just completely blown out from the floodwaters. The homeowner's telling me the floodwater was just too much pressure building up. And so right now we're actually looking into their basement that is completely filled with water still. They're not pumping it out right now because they said that that could actually possibly even make the situation worse. They don't know if the water is what's holding the foundation together. And now we're going to kind of bring you into the subdivision here. This is the Stony Creek subdivision. We're right by Dow High School in Michigan, or in Midland. And there are so many neighbors out here today helping, which just really shows the community support as everyone is pumping water out of their homes or bringing the damaged furniture and all sorts of just about everything you can imagine that you have in your basement or your home. They're bringing it out to the curb. And some things you really want to salvage. So as you can see, there's a lot of stuff you're just going to toss, but then there are the more precious things like the memories, the photos that they don't want to part with. So here this family today has been working to dry out some of these photos, trying to keep anything they can when it comes to memories like this. And now this is the garage. As we keep making our way into the house, it's kind of full circle here as we're looking down into the basement now. And as you can see, that's where the water is, just 3 stairs down. There's some drywall floating at the top. So there's still a lot. This is one of the hardest hit homes in this area. They don't have flood insurance. They said they didn't think to buy it since they're technically not in the flood zone. So there's still a lot to figure out. But right now, I think the biggest thing to highlight is the community coming together. We're going to talk more about that tonight at 11. For now, reporting live in Midland, Jacqueline Francis, News 8. It was the end of the road, but the start of our tour. Mid-Michigan native John Weaver bringing us aboard for an up-close look at the catastrophic flooding that's devastated the area.
It was overwhelming. You can't imagine all the destruction everywhere.
Weaver's father was among the thousands of people who had to evacuate their homes after the dam broke Tuesday evening. This afternoon, they traveled back to his home by boat to see if anything could be salvaged.
This is Village West condominiums in Midland. Got about 4 feet of water here, maybe 5. See a truck almost submerged there.
With water levels higher than expected, Weaver and his father decided it was best to wait a few days before trying to go inside.
We figured it was too deep, that it would be a total loss, and there's no reason to risk injuring ourselves or the possibility of electricity, or there was more that could go wrong than could go right.
Back here on the boat, as we're passing street signs, we can only see the tops of them. What else have you been observing out here that's kind of crazy? You mentioned cars.
Cars, debris, not a lot of people. But this is the best the traffic's been on this road in a long time.
Weaver says this stretch of Main Street, which is right by Northwood University's campus, was among the hardest hit areas as it's located right by the Tittabawassee River.
And where that red building is right there, that's an overlook on the river. So that's where the actual river is.
As we paddled our way back to shore, Weaver said there's more than one lesson to be learned from this somewhat natural disaster.
What I was telling people is, when when all these dams go against Mother Nature, and Mother Nature always wins. The earth can live without us, but we can't live without the earth. And sometimes I think we forget that.
To give you an idea of just how quickly things are changing, this is the second time just today that we've been here at the Kent County Health Department for a press conference on this outbreak. Tonight, of course, the biggest news being that there are now confirmed cases of coronavirus in Kent County, 3 cases to be exact. Officials learning of the positive test results just tonight. 2 of the people testing positive are female. The 3rd is a male. Officials say they're all over the age of 60 and have recently traveled outside of the U.S., giving officials reason to believe all 3 were exposed internationally and did not pick it up in the community. Tonight, all of them are recovering at home and did not need to be hospitalized. Take a listen to what officials had to say tonight.
There are 3 presumptive positive cases.
As it was just mentioned there a minute ago, this was not a surprise to Kent County health officials. They did expect that it would make its way to our area. But Brian, like you said, this is a very different message than what we got earlier today from when they said that Kent ISD schools would remain open. And now, of course, tonight, the governor overruling that by closing all the schools down across the state. So things are changing quickly. We know his name. We know his story. But for the first time, the West Michigan community is getting to know his closest friends.
We would love y'all. Y'all would love to, man. Y'all standing for a righteous person.
Floyd's friend, Milton Po'boy Carney, taking the stage this afternoon in the heart of Kalamazoo.
When my brother was first murdered.
Alongside NBA star Steven Jackson, who says Floyd wasn't just a lifelong friend, but more like a brother. Since Floyd's death, his friends have traveled city to city, leading Black Lives Matter protests across the country. As we marched through the streets, Jackson told me it's his grief that drives him.
This is my real pain. You know, this is not a photo op. This is not an act. I lost my earthly twin, somebody as close as I could ever be a twin to me. So I couldn't do nothing. I felt helpless. All I could do was use my voice, so that's what I'm doing.
Sharing a message that inspired many in the Kalamazoo community.
Well, I think one of the biggest things I took from what he said is we invest a lot in buildings and things like that in our community, but one of the most things that we need to start investing in is our people in our community, because that's where the change is going to start.
Although Jackson's fame came from his 14-season career playing in the NBA, he's now using that platform to make a difference, demanding equality and love for all.
You might not see nothing about basketball, because today what I'm standing for, I want to be known for changing lives and changing this world.
As Floyd's death has forever changed the legacy he hopes to leave behind.
I know change is bigger than anything that I could ever do in my life, and I don't want my brother's name to go in vain. So if his name is going to be the name of change, then I'm going to die behind that and die trying to make that happen.
Reporting in Kalamazoo, Jacqueline Francis, News 8.
The lake should be frozen. The dirt should have been frozen under the cottage. But it was a perfect storm. Well,
looking out over the bluff, standing on the ruins she once called home, Tish Ganser admits defeat.
it was going to work. We had foundation fixed, propped up.
Despite her best efforts to battle the elements, Mother Nature had her beat. Construction crews were in the process of installing shoreline protection when the Muskegon County home came crashing down New Year's Eve. Her beloved family cottage now a casualty of the aggressive erosion that continues to eat away at the Lake Michigan shoreline.
I know erosion. I've watched it. It's bad.
The home has been in Ganser's family for generations. Over the years, she's seen the water levels rise and fall and their land disappear. That's something experts say we'll continue to see along the lakeshore for months to come.
The woods were there, 300 feet of woods. All the woods fell. They're just gone. And we were at this beautiful view we had, and it wasn't over the edge.
Now, the view is more than she can bear. Today, Ganser was at the home for a final farewell before signing off on the construction company's plan for demolition. A complex and expensive project that will likely cost her tens of thousands of dollars out of pocket. What's insurance saying? Well,
No, they're saying, they can't say absolutely no, but it doesn't look like it's going to work out. So I am in a bad position.
In her grief, she's also grateful for all she's had.
Very sad. We cried. Pastor read a prayer of thankfulness because I'm privileged. It's a privilege that most people don't get. It's not lost on me.
When the house will actually be demolished is all weather dependent. As the construction company says, the water has to be calm enough for it to be safe for them to do the work. Reporting near Montague, Jacqueline Francis, News 8. There are so many questions surrounding this case, and while police say there's no new information to share as they're still looking for the person responsible for this crime, I can tell you when it comes to Calicia, the 5-year-old girl who was shot, well, she's on the mend and so much fun to be around.
I want toys.
Meet Calicia. At 5 years old, she has all the energy in the world.
Go, girl.
Making it hard to believe she spent most of the week in the hospital after she was shot on Monday. Can you tell me what happened to your arm?
I got shot.
You got shot?
Mm-hmm.
Did it hurt?
No, I didn't tear your arm. It didn't hurt.
Even crazier is that 12 hours passed before anyone noticed she was shot. It all started Monday night when police say someone fired shots into their home on St. Charles Avenue.
You see a bullet fall right there?
Was she awake when it happened?
She wasn't asleep. She was awake. The whole house was up.
Calicia's mom, who didn't want to go on camera, told News 8 that neither she nor the officers realized she'd been hit, not once, but twice.
Right here, right here, right here.
The next morning, when getting Calicia ready for school, her mom saw the gunshot wounds and rushed her to the hospital. When they got there, one of the bullets was still stuck in her arm.
When I get there, I see her, Calicia, with these 3 wounds. She's not crying, she's not yelling, she's not nothing.
A few days later, and Calicia has almost forgotten the whole thing even happened, telling me she just wants to play.
Let it go. Let the violence go. Let it go.
But the horrifying reality of gun violence isn't lost on her mom and grandma.
I want the violence to stop. This is a 5-year-old child in the midst of her own home.
On Sunday, they'll put these words into action by attending a Stop the Violence summit at Lamb of God Church. They're not going to share Calicia's story, but they're going to pray for answers and be part of the solution. The Stop the Violence Summit is Sunday morning at 10 at the Lamb of God Church in Grand Rapids. Calicia and her family will be there, and Calicia will receive a special blessing. For more information on the service, go to our website, woodtv.com. Reporting in the newsroom, Jacqueline Francis, News 8.